Good morning, Year 5. Have a go at this starter. Pause the video, and when you're ready, press play and we'll begin the lesson. So in today's lesson, we're going to be looking at different ways we can use semicolons in our writing. So how do we currently know how to use a semicolon in our writing? Well, we've done lots of work on this for The Highwayman and The London Eye Mystery. And the way we've used semicolons generally is when we write a descriptive list. So today we're going to be doing something a bit different. Today we're going to be using semicolons to separate two separate clauses. So today we'll be recapping how to use a semicolon to separate two clauses in the place of a conjunction. A semicolon can be used to replace a conjunction to connect two main clauses which are closely related to each other. So remember, a main clause makes sense on its own. It's just a sentence, okay? For example, the yellow-spotted lizard is particularly dangerous, semicolon. If you get bitten by one, you will die, full stop. So if you look at both of these main clauses, which have been underlined separately, each one makes sense on their own and could be standalone as its own sentence. So to better understand how we would use semicolons instead of a conjunction, I'm just going to talk through some steps that you will then do yourself independently. So for example, step 1, I've written a main clause. Stanley arrived at Camp Greenlake. As you can see, this clause makes sense on its own. Step 2, write another main clause which is linked to the first main clause. So my next sentence is, he had chosen this for his punishment. Now, it's very important that the two clauses, although they are separate sentences at this stage, it is very important that they link to each other, or it wouldn't make sense if we connected them with a semicolon. Step 3, join your two clauses using a conjunction such as because or and. Stanley arrived at Camp Greenlake because he had chosen this for his punishment. So here we have connected our two main clauses into one sentence, and we have linked it by using our conjunction because. But as you will see in step 4, we could also link it by including a semicolon. So step 4, replace the conjunction in your sentence with a semicolon. Stanley arrived at Camp Greenlake, semicolon. He had chosen this for his punishment. So a top tip to remember here is that we must remember to change the capital letter to a lowercase letter. So as you can see here in step 2, we have one main clause and it stands alone as a sentence, and obviously it begins with a capital letter, but as we've joined these two clauses, it's one sentence, so we need to remember to change that into a lowercase letter. So I'm just going to go through those steps again, and then I want you to have a go. Step 1, write a main clause. Dinner was some kind of stewed meat and vegetables. Step 2, write another main clause which is linked to the first main clause. The meat was brown and unidentifiable. So we've got two main clauses which stand alone by themselves as sentences. They link to each other. Now we're going to join those with a conjunction such as because or and. Step 3. Dinner was some kind of stewed meat and vegetables, and the meat was brown and unidentifiable. Now step 4, so we can really understand the function of that semicolon in this type of sentence. We're going to replace the conjunction in your sentence with a semicolon. Dinner was some kind of stewed meat and vegetables, semicolon. The meat was brown and unidentifiable. So we could use either a conjunction or a semicolon, but for this learning objective we are just focusing on semicolons, but also understanding the function of this semicolon in this sentence. Right, on our slides There is another example for you to have a look at, but I'm not going to go through this one. You can look at this independently if you want to pause the video. Now on the next page, which is page 8, I want you to have a go at working through these steps independently. So start off by writing a main clause, then another one which links to the first main clause. Join your two clauses using a conjunction, such as because or and replace the conjunction in your sentence with a semicolon. There are 3 of these tasks to do independently. When you're ready, when you've done these, press play. Right. So, on some scrap paper or on a whiteboard if you have one, I would like you to have a go at the bronze, silver or gold. You can just choose one of these. You don't have to do each one of them. So choose bronze or silver, and when you have done that, you can move on to the next one. So if you started off with bronze, move on to silver. If you started off with silver, move on to gold.